We in the building?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast. What's going on, Jay?
Not much, man. Doing what we do.
Good, man. Good. We doing what we do, boy. It's been a lot going on the last couple of days, man.
A lot of fire going on. A lot of fire going on. Second. Make sure everything good.
You good? You can hear me?
Yeah, we good now. Sorry about
Yeah, I was on mute. Anyway, man, let's jump into it, man. So,
that.
um, yeah, we've been, we dropped a couple of videos over the last, let's call it, couple of days, and we've had a lot of Terence Crawford fans, um, hitting us up in the comment section, talking about some of the things that we're saying relative to Terence Crawford and BLK. So, did you get an opportunity to actually look at the video, look back at it?
Yeah, man. Excellent detective work, my man. As usual.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Who we got in the building, though, man? Let me see who we got up in here. If you up in the building, man, let us know in the comment section what you holding in your hand right now.
Yeah, some of them were in their feelings about that last one.
Yeah, some of them were in their feelings about that last one, bro. But you got to think about it, man. So number one, BLK Prime came out of nowhere, bro. Like
Literally.
out of nowhere, it's a BLK Prime, and like I mentioned in the video that we did, um, BLK Prime is not an ESPN or a Fox or a Showtime pay per view.
Or
This is an
Dazzle, the
entity that
zone,
we've
whatever.
never heard of, even the Zone, right? We haven't
Yeah.
heard, and I know a lot of people are trying to compare BLK to the Zone, and I get what they're coming from or where they're coming from, but at the end of the day, when you look at the background of the CEO and the owner of the Zone and the actual investment group that owns the Zone, um, it's a completely different story from what you're seeing from a BLK perspective. BLK, bruh, they just don't look legit, bruh. Like
I
when you
mean,
look at and when I say don't look legit, I mean they don't look legit in the sense that they are an entity that can pay a fighter $10 million and actually have a profitable profit margin in doing so. What were you
yeah,
about to say?
and so it's to be sustainable. I mean, it seemed like Triller Point 2.0, you know, with less backing. They have a lot less
Right.
backing, at least name brand. Triller had verses. They had verses, and if I'm not mistaken, they had Jake Paul as one of their lead horses on there. Who puts cheeks in seats a hell of a lot more than Bud has ever done, and he's a
Right.
YouTuber. So
Exactly. That's the exact point, right? So Bud Crawford, so they're basically saying that Crawford is going to make $10 million guaranteed, at least $10 million guaranteed. There's some are out there, and some people are saying that Blue Blood actually said that they've made they've already paid him, which I don't believe that.
nah, I don't believe that either. Yeah, I don't believe that at all.
Yeah, I don't believe that. And when have you ever seen a situation where you have um, a fighter getting paid in advance to that extent. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand a fighter maybe getting some type of advancement check. That does make sense to me.
Yeah.
But a fighter getting a whole $10 million before they've actually completed the fight, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Absolutely
But
not.
apparently, supposedly, that's what Blue Blood is saying has already occurred. And I don't know about this. I have not heard. I don't really watch Blue Blood like that, unless there's just something that pops up in my feed that makes sense for me to watch it. But outside of that, I don't really watch it, so I don't know what he's saying. I heard through people that were in our comment section that were saying that Blue Blood is somehow associated with BLK Prime, which I don't know how that could be the case. I'm not really sure.
What's up, T Word? Welcome back, my man.
T, what's going on with you?
Yeah. I mean that's just it just seems a whole bunch of shadiness going on. It just doesn't seem real, especially thinking from a business standpoint. If I'm gonna put my money into a fighter, it has to be a fighter that I know I can get a return on investment immediately. Because for one, you can't play the long game with Terence Crawford. He's 35 years old. So you're not gonna get a long-term investment on him for one. Two, just going based off what he sold, he's not worth it in that sense. Not for 10 million. His skills is worth it, yes. The skills are worth it, but him as far as packing seats, it's not worth it at all.
Right. Totally agree with that, man.
Especially the fact that he's gonna be fighting pretty much a no-name, for the most part. A dude that doesn't have any like real major wins at all. He's lost Lamont Peterson, got stopped by Mean Machine, who Bud has already beaten and stopped. And actually, Mean Machine hurt Bud and dropped Bud, although it wasn't registered, but he dropped Bud in that fight there. So I mean, it's just crazy. Now that they did pay that dude step aside money, so.
Who are you talking about? The dude that's gonna what was his name? John.
Joe.
Yes?
Joe.
John
Yes.
McGuinness.
Yeah, something like that. So suppose they paid him step aside money, so he won't be fighting him in November and fighting Bud in December. I just don't like it because we're being robbed of the fight that the people want to see right now.
Right.
If Bud wanted to fight again, want to fight earlier this year, he should have already fought. I felt like he had plenty of time after when Spence fought and he fought in late April, early May when he beat Ugas.
Yeah, exactly.
Bud had plenty of time to get a tune-up fight then. That way also if he fought and let's say he did injure something, twist ankle or anything like that, he has time to heal up the fight Spence this year still. Versus what he's doing right now. It's crazy.
No, totally agree with that, man. And the thing about Bud, man, honestly, nothing what he's doing is really making a whole lot of sense when you think about it. What he's done over the last couple of years in terms of his career. What happened?
Nah, T Word said he's seeing people trying to connect this to Bud eventually fighting Spence on BLK Prime.
Oh, that's not gonna happen.
Man, they are reaching like crazy. I'm
gonna tell you something, T Ward. Honestly, I don't think this fight is gonna happen anymore. I think this fight is a absolute wrap. There's no way that this fight is gonna happen anymore. And the reason why I believe that, man, is that Terence Crawford, over the last several years, Terence Crawford has had the opportunity, man, to be subsidized by Bob Arum, and now he's found another sucker in BLK Prime to also subsidize him. So if I'm Terence Crawford, why in the world would I be willing to fight Errol Spence for $1 million guarantee plus upside? Or basically said in a different way, why would I be willing to fight anybody for really the value that I bring when I've been able to be paid much more than the value that I bring? I would never want to do that. So it's almost like that what Marvin Hagler said when he said something to the effect of it's very hard to get out of those SIP sheets. Well, for Terence Crawford, it's going to be very hard to go back to what I'm actually worth versus what I've been subsidized for.
Yeah, especially if BLK is coming out, BLK Prime is coming out there to really try to make a splash, I'm gonna have a different lead dog than Terence Crawford, man. I want someone that's gonna be able to be sustained future growth, and someone that's really marketable. At this time, Terence Crawford is not marketable. He's 35 years old. How much longer does it take for him to actually before he becomes marketable? Is right now, I think he's definitely on the back end of his career. So I don't think he would have been my lead dog. He's a hell of a fighter, of course, but marketable wise, no.
I'm not even sure if this is a long-term deal though, right? I think that so let's say that BLK Prime is legitimate, right? Let's say that everything that I discovered as a part of their background is an aberration, and now they're ran by a competent executive leadership team.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had someone, an angel investor, that is willing to front the money associated with this, hoping that it's going to springboard the platform for it. The thing about it is, so if you spring it forward and now you want the opportunity to get into the world of boxing or the sports pay-per-views, which I don't even know of any other ones, so it's really just going to be boxing. So are you going to pay Terence Crawford $10 million again? Because you've already set what the market is for his services.
You set the bar.
But
You set the bar.
what you've also done is set the market for all other fighters. So, for instance, if I'm a fighter that, let's say I'm Errol Spence, and I said, damn, Terence Crawford was able to get $10 million for BLK. I want to come fight for BLK. And BLK said, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And now, you know what I'm going to say if I'm Errol Spence? I've done 3 times the pay-per-views that he's done. I want $30 million.
Bingo.
Right? So you're setting a market for fighters that you can't sustain. This is similar to what DAZN did, really, with Canelo.
Yeah,
because
they did.
Canelo, they went out there, they jumped off a cliff and was willing to pay Canelo, what was it, 100 million or 300 million, something like that?
Yeah, something stupid. I think it was like, what, I forget. I don't want to misquote anything, but it was a stupid deal.
They guaranteed him the money. And what ended up happening was he wasn't fighting the level of fighters that would allow them to recoup the money that they promised to him.
Yep.
So BLK Prime is setting himself up to be in the same situation. So when people start talking about Greg, you're sitting up there, all the people that you found, they're old people. They probably have a new executive leadership team. That's fine. But think about the business decision that they're currently making. Uh-huh. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? It makes absolutely no sense because you can't just think about what's going to happen today. You also got to think about what's going to happen 5 years down the line. And if their strat plan is to actually grow that platform and to transition into the world of boxing, and by transition into the world of boxing, I mean actually doing pay-per-view fights that are outside of amateur fights, then you should already know that this is a bad deal for you because you're setting a market price that's just too high for what you're going to need in order to make a profit margin. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it just seems it's not sustainable at all. It's a horrible plan. I mean, we'll see. We have to wait and see if it's going to be Triller Point 2.0 or would it be like DAZN. But DAZN is still struggling because of the massive deal they gave Canelo.
Exactly.
So that's, yeah. I mean, especially $10 million for one fight.
I'm still struggling with the $10 million from one fight.
And this ain't
I really am.
And this ain't about us counting his pockets. We don't care about if he gets that money, good. If I'm Bud, hey Bud, get that money, yeah, get that money, man. Because you're not gonna have too many big time fights based on your age and how long you've been in the game right now. You're slowing down. You're on the closer end to retirement than anything else. So get what you can. If BLK Prime is dumb enough to pay you $10 million to fight this cat, get it. Just know that you won't be getting that for another fight though.
Yeah, I don't begrudge necessarily the dollar amount or any fighter getting the opportunity to make the money that they want to make because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are getting punched in the head. And fighting
definitely.
is dangerous. Yeah, it's an absolutely dangerous sport. The issue that I have with Bud Crawford is that it's short-sighted. So when you think about this, the way that he operated with Errol Spence, and I've said this in a lot of the posts that I've done, he had the opportunity to say, look, guys, this negotiation took way longer than what I thought it was going to take. And I want the opportunity to get a tune-up fight before the end of the year, before I go and get into the ring with the shark that is Errol Spence.
Big
right?
Fish.
So at the end of the day, I need to put into the contract the clause that will allow me to face another opponent. Errol, you can also face another opponent. And then we'll meet in Q1 of 2023 and make that fight happen.
That's the smartest thing to do.
Right. And so That's what he should have done. That's not what he did. He
Mm-mm.
actually operated in a way that showed that he was not operating in good faith. And because of that, I believe that he's going to be blackballed from other power brokers in the boxing world. And by power brokers, I mean the Al Haymans. He can't go back to Bob Arum, right? Because he's suing him, or at least he was suing him. I'm not sure if he's suing him anymore. Eddie Hearns, he can't go to Eddie Hearns. Eddie Hearns has already stated that he's not willing to operate or at least do business with Bud Crawford. So I
So he's
think
limited.
I think he's going to alienate himself to the boxing world. So he may be stuck either with BLK Prime, and they're not going to be willing to continue to pay him that type of money for something that's not showing a return, or he may be looking for retirement, man. At the end of the day, because I just can't foresee Terence Crawford fighting much longer. And I just can't foresee him having the opportunity to go and make some additional money with other fighters who are under those power brokers. That's just my opinion.
I totally agree with that. I mean, and think about this whole situation. It just sucks for the fans and also their legacy. This was a truly a legacy fight for the both of them. 35 and 32 years old. Top dogs in the game. One has one belt, one has the other three belts, and this was going to be for welterweight supremacy right here, the undisputed. And now this is getting pushed back. Now, what happens if Bud messes around and gets clipped, or gets hurt? We won't see this fight at welterweight, and we still might not even see if he gets through the fight in December. So I mean, this shit sucks, man.
It does suck, man, because there were so many other opportunities for Terence Crawford to do something different than what he actually did. Again, a fight, and I told you this back at the end of July. It doesn't make any sense for a fight to take this long to negotiate. It just simply doesn't. And there's a number of different routes that Terence Crawford could have taken, but he decided to do something different. Mm-hmm. And so that's always been the issue that I've had with Terence Crawford, is that he doesn't seem to make the most sound business decisions. And maybe Terence Crawford is smarter than all of us. Maybe he's an evil genius. Maybe he's the type of guy that's like similar to Floyd Mayweather. That he has, but I doubt it. Floyd
was different.
You could see the genius in what he was doing. All Floyd was doing was taking a WWE style personality or persona and turning the volume up real loud. It's like every one of us has, a part of us that want to be a baller or a shot caller or a gangster or whatever. All of us have that, right? But it's in small quantities. What he did was find a piece of his personality, which was Money Mayweather, the baller, similar to Cash Money, and turned the volume way up on that aspect of his personality, similar to what you would see in professional wrestling. And that's how he sold himself. Terence Crawford does not sell himself. What he's doing is trying to find backdoor ways in order to make the same amount of money as some of these other fighters that actually put cheeks in seats. And that's the issue that I have with him. I don't have an issue with Terence Crawford as a boxer. I don't have an issue with Terence Crawford making money. People trying to say that we don't like Terence Crawford. I like Terence Crawford. I've always liked Terence Crawford.
Yeah.
I don't like his business dealings. And honestly, it started when he re-signed with Bob Arum. It didn't make any fucking sense. You and I talked about that shit. We didn't even have a channel then. We talked about that and we said it doesn't make any sense. Why the fuck is he signing back with Bob Arum? And look at what ended up happening. Now he's suing, or he was suing him. Yeah. So my prediction is this is a mistake moving to MLK, and I think I'm going to be right again.
He said MLK.
I'm sorry, it's BLK. Hey, they so unknown. I don't know who the fuck they are.
Yeah, man. It just sucks, I mean, but also along that same vein, it's been rumors talking about Spence is going to be possibly fighting December himself. Rumors were like December 3rd, December 17th against Stanionis. So I mean, one of them is actually, if that's the case, Spence is actually fighting an actual known fighter, a threat, a mandatory, while Bud is fighting a true tune-up. So I mean, that's big on Spence. If that is the deal, it's also been rumored out that Boots, Pops is out there. They're trying to petition for Boots to get the fight since he's the mandatory for the IBF that Spence has. So if Spence fights either one of those, that's still a better fight than what Bud is doing right now. That's like a consolation prize for us for Bud holding up this whole negotiation. I feel that he held it up because if he said I agreed to everything, if you agreed to everything, this fight would have been done then.
Yep.
You know,
That's the part I don't understand. People keep hopping in the comment section talking about he agreed to everything. You guys are hating. If he agreed to everything, then why is the fight not happening?
Exactly. If he agreed to everything that Spence and PBC wanted, why the fight won't happen? I mean, it's just disheartening, man.
So here's what I read somewhere, man. They were talking about some of the so apparently actually you sent it to me, man. Why don't you tell us what that it was Steven Espinosa. Basically, he was asking for some, Steven Espinosa was basically saying that Errol Spence already had the contract and that it was Bud Crawford who was asking for things that was unusual versus what you would normally see a boxer asking for.
Yeah, it's almost like he had, buyer's remorse at the time he started getting cold feet. He started. I don't think either fighter is scared of one another, but they do make business decisions. They know that. Look, especially on Bud's side, like Bud's like he don't got much time left. He's 35. Talking about he's gonna move up again to 154. 154 is a whole different beast to me than 147, especially for Bud. For Bud, as much as Bud has been getting hit lately, his last few fights, he don't want to get hit. He don't want to get touched up by a Charlo, hell, even a Lubin. It's different animal at that time, that weight class there for him. But for that, yeah.
Hey, finally we got a Bud fan in the building. Brenda McDonald. Crawford don't give a fuck what you fools think.
You do.
let me just elaborate on that. So Crawford may not give a fuck what we think. Apparently Crawford doesn't give a fuck what anyone
thinks.
But that doesn't mean he's necessarily making the right decision, Brenda. He could still be making the wrong decision, regardless of what he cares about other people and their thoughts. So at the end of the day, I think that this is a poor business decision, but who am I? I'm just somebody that no, let me not say that. Let's keep going.
That's it. So what you think about, Spence potentially fighting either Stanionis or Boots in December?
I don't like it. And the only reason I'll take it in terms of entertainment value. I mean, it's a good fight. Either one of those fights are going to be good fights. And I guess I'm putting on my manager hat, similar to what Brendan McDonald is saying. Maybe Spence didn't give a fuck about what I say either. But what I believe Spence should do is move up to 154 pounds. There's just simply no value in Spence staying at 147 pounds. And what I'm thinking he's doing, if he is in fact considering fighting Stanionis, is let me stay at 147 pounds. I'm going to stay for one more fight, and then I'm going to get the opportunity to unify the titles. So that would mean then that Errol Spence is committed to actually fighting Terence Crawford. If he's willing to stay at 147 pounds and fight Stanionis where he doesn't get any real value out of it, he's not going to make a ton of money doing it. He's not going to improve his legacy doing it. He's not going to unify or become undisputed doing it. So why else would he do it? He's doing it to wait for Terence Crawford in order to make that fight happen, which would mean that Errol Spence was never the issue in terms of making that fight. It was always Terence Crawford. So, Brenda, how do you like that logic? You want to argue that?
I mean, I agree with what Jay say. Like, Bud don't give a damn about anyone but his bank account and family. Bud fuck the fans for real. I mean, in a sense, that's basically what he's doing with this here. I mean, granted, he gotta live his life. If he want more money or whatever, high money, low risk, that's go that route. But I mean, make your money, But this is a chance for legacy for the both of them. It's no way in hell Bud should be fighting this dude here. In my opinion, it's robbing us of the fight that we need to see and that they need for their own legacy. They don't fight. Everyone's gonna be thinking about Bud Spence. What happened? It's gonna go on and on.
Right. It hurts their legacies, right? And it hurts Spence legacy and it hurts Boots legacy. I mean, not Boots, but Crawford legacy. And I know people are going to say, well, no, it doesn't hurt Errol's legacy because he's not the one that does. No, it does. And the reason why it does is because Errol had the opportunity to become undisputed welterweight champion of the world. And so now, if he doesn't stay at 147 pounds and continue to drain himself, then he's not going to be able to accomplish that, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, it hurts his legacy if he moves up to 154 pounds, which I believe he should do because I don't think he should continue to kill himself and try to make that weight. And then from a Terence Crawford perspective, listen, I think everybody who's rational and people who are Spence fans know that there was an issue on the side of Bud Crawford, period, in the story. It was on him. And I believe that the Bud supporters also know that this is suspect because at the end of the day, if David Avanesyan on the other side of that card or that billing was Errol Spence, the Terence Bud Crawford fans right now, they would be exploding.
Oh, man.
So don't tell me that you feel that this is okay because he's making $10 million. You'd have an issue with it, just like we have an issue with it currently.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree with that. It's, man.
And why I see Rodman Salahuddin saying that
blame Al.
Blame Al Heyman. I appreciate that, Jay. Hit that like button. We don't never really talk about hit the like button because at the end of the day, we really just enjoy coming in talking about boxing and it's a community. Why are we blaming Al Heyman, Rockman? Please tell us that. I want to have that discussion because there are some aspects of Al Heyman that I feel like have affected boxing in general, but it isn't this fight. It isn't this fight.
Yeah. I mean, Donovan said, he thinks they're going to still fight anyway. I mean, I hope so too, but, I was the only one on the channel here that was hoping for this fight to happen in November and December. Now,
if I don't believe that's bullshit. That's bullshit. If he itching for the fight next year, he would have already signed a contract to make sure that the fight would actually come to a conclusion next year.
Yeah, the smartest thing for him to do, if he wanted to tune up, like you said earlier, put that in the contract. Put it in the contract. Tune up, then Spence. It's not like it ain't been done before. It's been done several times before.
Exactly. How many times have we seen people put in the contract that, hey, we're going to have a tune-up fight in between? Sometimes we've seen fighters actually fight on the same card against different opponents, knowing that the conclusion of that night is going to be those two fighters fighting next. Mm-hmm. We've seen that on multiple occasions.
Exactly.
So why is it an issue for Bud to do it currently? He ain't itching. I almost said the N-word. He ain't itching to do shit. He ain't itching to do shit. He is itching. The only thing Bud Crawford is itching to doing is line his bank account. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I think back to when Zab and Mayweather fought. Zab, they had already signed a contract. Zab lost to Baltimore. Then he still fought Mayweather next fight. Mayweather still fought him regardless of the loss because he signed the contract. Zab's supposed to get through Baltimore. Then he's supposed to fight Floyd.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about what Rockman Sula. I'm sorry, brother. I can't pronounce your last name. Salahuddin is how I think it's pronounced. But if I'm mispronouncing it, please forgive me. They should have made Crawford a deal that he can't refuse.
He got to be worth it.
So, no. What he's saying is that, hey, you need to follow the Bob Arum blueprint and subsidize him.
Nah, you can't overpay.
You can't keep overpaying fighters. And that is the issue that I've had with Al Heyman in the past. Al Heyman has corrected that over the last 3 to 4 years. His new model is the appropriate model. But you can't continue to overpay fighters. You cannot do it.
Yeah, it's just, man. It's just the legacy part that's really bothering me. That it's killing both of their legacies for right now. They'll still be Hall of Famers. But the greatness of this fight, what could have been right now, is not going to be the same. I don't think so. Even if they do fight, first part quarter of next year, I don't think it's still going to be this. I don't think it's going to be the same.
It's never going to be the same. In fact, this fight is never going to happen. This fight is not going to happen, guys. I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this fight is not going to happen. Why in the world would this fight happen, Jason? I'm Bud Crawford. I'm going to put myself in Bud Crawford's shoes right now. I made $6 million in my last fight. I'm going to make $10 million in this fight. Why am I going to not go to Errol Spence and make what I'm supposed to actually make, my market value? Yeah. I figured out a way for the last 3 to 4 years to figure out a way to pay myself or get paid more than my market value. I think I'm the smartest man on earth. So Bob Allen was stupid enough. He thought he was going to lock me into a contract and was going to be able to promote me because he thought I was going to be willing and a willing participant in actually promoting myself, and I didn't. Now I find another sucker that's willing to pay me $10 million where I don't have to do anything, and they're gonna get fleeced on this. So I'm gonna go to Al Heyman,
Yeah,
and make a fight based off my market value.
and I mean, Jay makes a good point. I mean, he's like no one will care about making a Bud fight if Spence fights Boots. I mean, that's a good point as well because Boots is the next one in line. You know,
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, Boots is the next one in line. So I mean, if he beats Boots, you know, although he won't be undisputed, you know, he can be like, you know what, fuck you, Bud. You know, because Bud still ain't gonna sign a deal. I refuse to believe that Bud would sign a deal for less than $10 million to fight Spence if he just made $10 million fighting this cat in December.
Man, in 10 years, ain't nobody gonna remember that Errol Spence beat Boots Ennis. Boots Ennis, and I think Boots Ennis is the truth. I think he's the goods. But in the event that Errol Spence fights Boots Ennis and he actually beats him, you know what people are gonna say? He was never that good to begin with. It's similar. I've said this on I think it was our last podcast, or I can't remember what it was, the last live stream. It's similar to the Orlando Magic, right?
Yeah.
Orlando Magic, you and I know we were around there. Orlando Magic back in the mid 90s when they faced the Chicago Bulls, they were tough as fuck. Who talks about the Orlando Magic today? Not a goddamn soul.
I don't think you talk about Orlando is when they missed those three, when Nick Anderson missed those 3 free throws.
Yeah, exactly.
Against
So
Houston.
if in 10, 15 years, if he were to beat Boots Ennis, because Boots Ennis hasn't done anything else, ain't nobody, it doesn't solidify him to anybody other than the people today currently. In
Well,
10, 15 years, it won't mean anything.
it depends what Boots does after that fight, though. If Boots comes back and thrashes everyone else except for Spence, it's gonna make Spence look that much better.
So Jay said, that's wrong, fellas. Everyone remembers Floyd beating Canelo, but Floyd was already a super established fighter. And hold up. And actually, Canelo, on multiple occasions, people tried to argue that Canelo was too young, was too green.
Yeah, one side they said he was too young, too green, and on one side they said he's too big for Floyd.
So that's exactly. So that's what I'm trying to avoid, Jay. It's not so much like we remember it, right? But it's been what? That was when did Floyd fight Canelo? In 14, 15? No, I'm sorry. That was 12, wasn't it? 2012?
No, it was like 13.
Or 13.
Yeah.
So no, it's almost been 10 years now. But at the end of the day, I just feel like, okay, in 10 more years, I don't think anybody's going to really remember that Floyd beat, because Floyd's accomplishments stand above and beyond Canelo regardless. But I get what you're saying, Jay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, what Jay is saying also is the fact that, think about this. If Canelo had just gotten the shit beat out of him after he fought Floyd, we wouldn't care about that fight anymore. But the fact that Canelo went on to be now like the pound for pound best, whatever, it makes Floyd look that much better. Same thing with Boots. If Boots fights Spence, Spence beats Boots, Boots moves on and does exactly what Canelo has done as far as like wins and everything and championships, then we're gonna remember that fight for sure with Spence. We're gonna think Spence was that much greater.
Now that's a fair point, and I was kind of about to go down that path as well, because I was just responding to Jay saying, "I feel you, Jay." That's a great point. Canelo has built a resume past what he did versus Floyd. I still think some of the luster and shine is taken off of Floyd, undeservedly so, for that win. But I think it's a correct assumption that if Boots continues to be great, then yeah, if Spence beat him, then yeah, I mean he's gonna get credit for that. But it will still take some of the shine off of it, and I would rather be undisputed beating Terence Crawford, who was the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the sport at that time, versus beating an up and coming fighter like Boots Ennis. That's my opinion.
No, I totally agree with that. I mean, that's what we want, but this is a consolation prize we got to get because of Bud going elsewhere. So I mean, whether it's Boots or Stanionis, I would love to see the Boots fight, just me, just being a boxing fan, but if he fights Stanionis, I'm fine with that. If he fights Bud next. But I think if he fights Boots, he's definitely leaving 147 unless Bud signs that contract.
Man, let's talk about what Bad Tito just said. That pay-per-view gonna flop hard. Bruh.
You ain't paying to go. You ain't paying to watch it.
So we watch all boxing content. We watch all boxing content. That's just what it is. So whether we buy it or not really doesn't matter because we're covering the sport. Terence Crawford, at most, has sold 150,000 pay-per-views. That's been reported. More than likely was closer to 135,000 pay-per-views. And they are planning to sell this fight at $39.99 per buy. The math doesn't add up.
Yeah.
I think I did the math on one of the videos, and I think it came close to $6 million.
Yeah.
So if they're paying them 10, they're already taking a $4 million hit.
Yeah, the numbers don't make it. The numbers don't add up. They just don't add up for that.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. BLK looks so damn janky and shaky from looking at what I saw on LinkedIn. I wouldn't be surprised if they at the damn fight recording the fight with a goddamn camcorder. Them niggas could be at the fight recording that bitch with cell phones. They look that fucking janky, bruh. I'm sorry, I'm being an asshole, but they look that fucking janky. I can't see this fight selling that amount. I can't see this fight. There's no promotion. It's on December 10th. That's less than 8 weeks away. There's no promotion. So
which was a bigger fight? Bud versus David Haney, whatever his name, or Tio versus Kambosos?
None of them put seats in cheap.
Exactly, but one of them was getting a lot more pub. The T.O. versus Kambosos was getting a lot more publicity. Triller was doing a lot of promotion and all that stuff there, and they overpaid, and they ended up getting screwed on that. That's why I see this BLK Prime, Black Prime, or whatever they call it, being a Triller 2.0. Because there's no way in hell this shit is going to be put out there, marketed, and they're going to make the money back. It's not happening.
Rumpman says subscribe to BLK Prime and bought the fight. Will also purchase Spence Stanionis. I support black business. I can't knock you on that, Rockman. I can't knock you at all on that.
It's not about supporting. It's just the likelihood of them having the money to facilitate this type of deal and sustain and move forward. That's the problem I see with this. It's like if this the person they're going to put their their mantle on to be their lead dog. It's just a one fight deal. More power to them. They succeed, great. It's just hard to believe that it's going to be a success just based on everything that we've discussed thus far.
300,000. Someone just made it. Someone in the comment section just said to break even, they need to do 300,000 pay-per-view buys. That's almost $12 million. So they'll pay Bud Crawford, but I'm telling you guys, there's all kind of expenses that are associated with doing this stuff that we probably do not see. And I'm not going to pretend and sit up here and act like I'm an expert at the costs associated with streaming, because I'm not. But there's always all types of hidden costs that we're not thinking about relative to making a fight and broadcasting the fight, even if it's being streamed. I do believe that there's an opportunity to cut out middlemen when you're actually streaming a fight and make more money. But if DAZN, because that's the same business model from DAZN, so if DAZN is struggling to pay Canelo, then obviously the profit margins aren't that great, especially if you're considering, the fighter's ability to actually sell pay-per-view. So I don't see. You probably need 500,000 to break even or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised. At $39.99.
Yeah.
Now, if it was $99 or $79 at 400, 500,000, now you're talking about something. But $39, not seeing it.
But you won't get that type of viewership, pay-per-view buys for that fight. Neither. No one's gonna pay for that. Pay $99 for a Bud versus this guy.
Maybe that's a good point. So you got price elasticity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with price elasticity, when the price goes down, the volume goes up. So maybe they're anticipating that he's going to sell more. But didn't one of his fights, hasn't Bud had a fight that was already around $30-some and that shit flopped too?
Yeah. Who was that? Was that against Porter? He was bitching about, talking about, well, it didn't do as well because they couldn't find it. Because was that the fight on DAZN?
That was the app fight. But I thought he had another pay-per-view. Maybe it was Khan or somebody else.
Not DAZN. It was ESPN. ESPN Plus.
It was like $30-some or something like that. If you guys remember it, let me know. I can't remember it.
Yeah, because he cried, saying no one could find out how to watch the fight when a week before, 2 weeks before, they actually had the same fight on ESPN Plus for, I think it was Kamaru Usman and was it Covington fight or somebody, and they blew it out the water. So it wasn't that, it was him.
Fat Cat said it was Khan that had it for $30-some. That's
Ah,
why I love boxing fans, man, because there's always somebody that's gonna have your back, man, and let you know if there's something that you've forgotten. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that, Fat Cat.
yeah. And Rob, man, I appreciate the supporting them on BLK Prime. No problem with that. It's just supporting them. I don't know if they bit off more than they can chew with this right here. That can screw them in the long run. If they want to sustain and really be a hitter in the game, that's they set the bar so high. Everyone else is going to want more. They're going to want at least 10 million or more to fight for them now.
Here's the issue that I have with BLK Prime, and so I'm gonna bring up our boy, our common friend Ryan, and we've done a lot of business. Ryan and I, we've started businesses together. We've launched businesses. We've been in other businesses with other people before, and I know how a lot of this stuff works. You can have a few different players, African American, who can come together, put their money together, and do some type of investment. And then when you look at the actual organization, what you see is that you have a lot of people's homeboys that are in the executive leadership positions. And that's the reason why, I went and looked up because BLK, I mean, it's black, right? When you see BLK, it means black. I knew that right from the beginning, right?
Same here.
So you end up seeing situations where you got a lot of homeboys in certain positions, and which is fine, man. I mean, you want to start a business and you got your homeboy in that position, man. That makes perfect sense to me. But as your business grow and you're starting to get into other areas of marketing, finance, so forth and so on, you want to make sure that either your homeboy has become educated in doing those types of things, or you bring in the appropriate support system that actually support your homeboy. From what I can tell from BLK Prime, it doesn't seem like they've done that.
Yeah. Also, a good point about, in my opinion, about he's wondering if BOK was doing the Mickey Bay versus Tevin Farmer fight that didn't happen because they didn't get paid. I don't know if they're the ones that did Tevin Farmer versus Mickey Bay fight that was happening a couple of months ago. Tevin Farmer and Mickey Bay, they pulled out. They didn't fight, I think, the day of because they hadn't gotten paid. So if any of y'all have any more research on that, the Tevin Farmer Mickey Bay fight that didn't happen because they didn't get paid, if that was BLK Prime, that's not a good look at all.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't know. I had never heard of BLK Prime prior to this announcement. So and again, when it's a private company, it's hard to find a lot of good information on that company. Now, I probably could go a little bit deeper and find out who that CEO is, but really, I just wanted to understand or get a better look at who they were. And based off what I've seen, they don't seem to be a company that has the ability to pay that kind of money. But again, if you got an angel investor, and again, I've seen situations where you have small entities, but they have one person that's backing them, and that one person that's backing them is their money source, and that's how they blow up. The problem with this situation, when you have an angel investor, is that this angel investor isn't going to make shit back on his investment.
That's
Period.
sustainable.
So either this individual has come in and actually bought BLK Prime in the hopes that somehow they're going to be able to transition into boxing. But again, their long range planning or their strategic 5-year plan doesn't make any sense because you're setting a market price that you won't be able to sustain. So I don't get it. Their business
Yeah.
model, in my opinion, based off the surface of what I see, it sucks.
Oh, Jay, it was Spike TV for the Mickey Bay. Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's just. Mm.
Fight TV, never heard of them.
Yeah, I know. I've heard of them. They have fights on a lot, but I haven't seen any like major name fights on them. Like they have fight cards almost every week, pretty much.
So man, let's talk about Blue Blood. And supposedly he's a business partner with BLK. Like if you guys are aware of this, I said it earlier. I don't typically watch Blue Bloods channel. I really don't watch anybody's boxing channels anymore because I don't want people to think that we took their ideal or their content. But every once in a while, if something pops up on my radar, I will comment on it. Like, how is Blue Blood actually associated with BLK Prime? Because it seems like that 7-Eleven meeting that he had a few weeks ago was the impetus to them actually negotiating a deal for Terence Crawford for him to get supposedly $10 million.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a sticky. That's a lot of weeds in that situation there for sure. A lot of weeds in that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like when Blue Blood says he's a partner in what sense? Do you just promote certain things? Are you actually invested in the company? What does partner mean? Like you can easily be a partner of someone but have no investment. You could just be doing some type of side deal. So I don't know if he's giving himself more credit than he deserves when he calls himself a partner. I don't know what he is. And maybe he's explained it, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's yeah. I don't know. It's going to see how his future videos come out. See how if he does any type of slants one way or another, that give us more of an insight. But people have had all type of rumors about not necessarily just Blue Blood, but Bud and BLK Prime, and people have mentioned like alluding to money laundering with buddy Daniel whatever Kalua whatever his name
Gang,
was.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it could be a lot of stuff going on, but we simply really don't know. There's not enough information out there. I mean, only thing we can do is just hurry up and wait and see what happens. We'll find out
That's
more
the thing.
come December.
That's the thing that's so crazy about it, man. Crawford is that's another poor business decision for those of you who question the reason why we question his business decisions and his business acumen. Why on earth would you get yourself associated with someone who I believe is on the federal watch list in Daniel Kinahan? Why would you do that? What sense does that make? And now we have a reason to question everything that Terence Crawford does. Like I've seen people in the comment section questioning whether or not this money is actually being funded through Daniel Kinahan in some way. I'm going to go on the record right now and saying I have no idea if that is occurring.
Yeah,
And I don't think I really want to know. But
yeah.
at
I
the,
want no association with that at all.
exactly. But at the end of the day, that's a decision. That's a bad decision. Why on earth would you associate yourself with somebody like that? It makes no sense.
Yeah, and that's another good point that we had mentioned beforehand that ISIJV mentioned about their only PLK Prime is worth about what 5 million.
Yeah. So ISJVL ISLJV, where he's getting that information is from Zoom Info. So I saw the same information. They're basically saying that they have about $5 million of revenue. Now I don't know if that was annual or if that was from previous 3 years. I have no idea. Um,
Yeah,
Maybe they do it, but to pay Terence Crawford comfortably $10 million, that they need to be well above $5 million annually. And that's my opinion because they've only been in existence for, I believe, since 2018.
yeah,
So about 4 years.
yeah. So they're up and coming production. So I mean, wishing the best, man. But it just seems like too much that they're trying to make this splash on without anything that can stabilize them for future. It's just too much of an investment. If it is in fact $10 million that they're trying to pay, but for one fight in December, it's a stretch.
It is a big time stretch. It's a huge stretch. And again, when I saw BLK, I knew it was black.
Hmm.
And the black person in me want to support another black organization or entity.
All day.
But the fact that you cannot find any credible information on these individuals is suspect. And I had somebody in the comment section, QT, who was shout out to QT. He's one of our hate mongers. But his logic, which was flawed, was that these individuals that I looked up, they were from BLK's past. Regardless, if I'm getting ready to do business with a company that is in total only 4 years old, and that company had two or three individuals that were at the ELT position or the ELT level, and those individuals had no entertainment experience at all in their prior roles. They were real estate agents or travel associates or whatever you want to call them. And then they're now thrusted into a role of COO or vice president of production. There's no way in hell, and I do mean no way in hell, I would put my career in the hands of these individuals, nor would I trust that they will actually be able to deliver on $10 million, regardless of who is the CEO, COO, vice president of production today. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. 2 or 3 years ago, I know that the guy that was the VP or the young lady that was the CEO was literally a travel associate. I would not be doing business with this organization. And I love black folks. And maybe they do have an angel investor, and maybe Terence Crawford met this individual. But still, do you want to put your career in the hands of these folks that made this decision to put these individuals in charge 2 or 3 years ago? I wouldn't do it. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, only time would tell. You know, I'm just disappointed regardless. No matter what Bud gets paid, the legacy fight that I wanted to see and that most of us boxing fans wanted to see is not happening this year in 2022 like it was supposed to. And that's what sucks.
So what do you think? Because in my opinion, this fight's not going to happen, right? I just can't see Terence Crawford getting the opportunity. I personally think that at the point in which he finishes this fight with David Avanesyan, and hopefully he wins, I think he will more than likely be blackballed by all other power brokers in the game. So what is Terence Crawford's next step? What options does he have after this David Avanesyan fight? Because I don't see a whole lot of them. Guys, in the comment section, what do you think? What are the opportunities for Terence Crawford after this fight? Because I don't think he can go to Eddie Hearns. I mean, he's already said he doesn't want to do business with him. Yeah. The PBC was already saying that he was probably going to be too expensive prior to actually even going through the negotiations with Errol Spence. He's suing Bob Arum. Don King, he doesn't really exist anymore. So who is it? Who else can he actually do business with?
He's really stuck.
It feels like it, right?
He's really stuck. Only thing he can do after he fights David, Spence fights whomever in December and moves up to 154. Bud has to do whatever he can. He can fight his mandatory, or he could try to move up to 154. Even if he moves up, who's going to fight at 154? He's not going to fight Mel.
Well, I would love to see him go fight Mel. Oh, I would love to see him move. He's been talking a lot of shit.
He's been talking a lot of shit.
Champion. Hold up, he is the WBO champion, and the WBO
he can invoke that clause
that he can invoke that clause and go up and fight Mel. I would love to see Terence Crawford go up and fight Jermell Charlo. I think, and this is just my opinion, guys, I think if you look at it overall, I think Terence Crawford is the better boxer. The point that I'm going to make here, though, is that I've not seen a fight that Jermell Charlo has not landed. And when he lands, he's going to get your ass up out of there. I do not believe, and guys, I've been a critic of Jermell Charlo because sometimes I don't think he displays the level of boxing IQ that's required in order for him to make a fight easy. But at the end of the day, it never fails. He lands. So I believe he will land on Terence Crawford. And when he does land, I think he's going to put Terence Crawford out of there. And because of Terence Crawford's style, where he puts his hands low, where he's very reactionary, where a lot of his defense is predicated on his athletic ability, similar to Roy Jones, I think eventually he's going to connect. When he connects, he's going to get him out of there. And he's older. He doesn't even move around as much as he used to.
Yeah.
I think Mel gets him out of there up under 8 rounds.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. And like you said, Terence is definitely the better boxer, but he's been getting hit a lot more as he's gotten older. He's gotten more stationary. He got hit more by Porter. He got hurt by Mean Machine. Some say he got dropped in that fight. Although it wasn't scored, I believe he got hurt. He was dropped on that one. I see Mel getting him out of there. I just don't see outside of that WBO clause that he can invoke. He really doesn't bring up anything else to Mel at 154.
What would be interesting, though, is in the event that he does beat David Avanesyan and Errol Spence is really not interested in fighting him, or Errol Spence has moved up to 154 pounds. In that case, Errol Spence he's really not incentivized to fight him anymore. He talked a lot of shit about Mel. If he really got those big balls that he said he has, he call him out and go up there and actually fight him.
Yeah, but who's to say Mel will stick around to fight him, though? After Mel fights his mandatory in Zoo, Mel might be moving up himself to 160, especially if his brother moves up to 168.
Yeah, that makes sense. I still want to stay around and fight Bud. That would be interesting.
Yeah, because Mel already said he ain't gonna fight Spence. You know, Spence said they won't fight unless the money is right. The money has to be big time right for them to fight each other because they're training partners, they're friends. So I mean, at 154, I see the same issues going on with Bud. Plus, I just don't see Bud fighting at least another 2 years tops. You know, he's 35 and he's getting hit a lot more. He moves up to 130, 154, fighting them heavy hitters, getting hit as much as he's been hit now by 147 pounders. I don't see him lasting much longer than that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. I would just it would I just want to. It's going to be very interesting to see what he eventually ends up doing after this, if in fact he is blacklisted from the other power brokers in boxing. Errol Spence, Stanionis, good fight, but I really think he's going to move up. And if Errol Spence does move up to 154 pounds, what do you think he's going to do? Who do you think he would be interested in taking on?
Spence at 154.
Yeah.
I mean,
Easy answer for me
Spence.
is Garcia, right? Why not just go ahead and do a rematch with Garcia to warm yourself up?
Why?
I hear
Man,
you. I hear you.
I mean, I get it as a one but 154, but Garcia doesn't bring nothing to the table at 154. I mean, Garcia has pretty much got one foot out the door just like Thurman, like Porter did last year. You know, Garcia is doing a lot of other things with his family and doing like I think something else I saw him doing like real estate and some other stuff that he does. So he's not fully invested into it at 154 or not. So I mean, that wouldn't be nothing for the fans. I don't think that would be a fight that would really sell him. I don't think that would be Spence style because essentially that'd be a tune-up fight for Spence.
Yeah, Spence doesn't seem to like tune-up fights much.
Yeah. Now Spence versus Lubin, Fundora. I would like to
I
see
like
those.
Harrison. I like Harrison for him. I think Harrison is the perfect introductory fight for him at 154 pounds, in my opinion.
That'd be a good fight just because Harrison's a good boxer.
Really good
He's a good
boxer.
boxer. Although he didn't
Doesn't
look good in
have.
his last fight. He didn't look good at all in his last fight. I think it was his last fight. He had a draw or he lost that fight. One of the two. But I mean, definitely has skills, and that'd be a really good fight to see how Spence is at 154 heavier weight. You know, Otto Harrison is chinny. You know, Spence will get him up out of there though.
So that's more of a reason why that's the perfect fight to kind of put his toe in the water and kind of see what he can do at 154 pounds. I'm curious to see how Spence's style transfers up to 154 pounds. I think Spence has this type of style that it will probably need to be adjusted at the point at which he gets to maybe like around 160. But I don't really think he needs to adjust his style for 154 pounds. And also, we've talked about Spence over the Spence has talked about this himself over the last 10 years, have struggled really to get down to 147 pounds. At 154, probably you'll see an increase in power as it relates to Errol Spence because he doesn't have to drain himself to make the weight. So I'd be interested to see what he could do with someone like Tony Harrison. Like if he disposed of him relatively easy, I think you probably have a new king at 154 pounds if he were to make that move.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, for Spence, I think of course Spence has a lot more leeway at 154 than Bud, just because Bud doesn't have a promotional company right now. He's been touted as being hard to work with. His skills. If it just was his skills will sell the bills easily, pay the bills. He is by far one of the most skilled fighters out there. It's just him not being marketable and the business acumen that's been going on has been an issue. I want to see Bud against the best because I really think it'll be a hell of a fight. We've already talked about the Bud Spence fight is a 50-50 fight for the most part. It could go either way, although I do lean towards Spence in the fight. It's still a hell of a fight that we want to see.
Hey, Trillion Dollar Dream said Brian Castano would actually beat Spence at 154 pounds. I totally disagree with that.
Nah.
Brian Castano would not beat Errol Spence. So, number one, I feel like Jermell Charlo actually made that fight more difficult than what it should have been. And that goes back to what I was saying in the past in terms of his boxing IQ. Jermell has all the talent in the world. He has all the skills in the world. He is being trained excellently by Derek James. But the issue with him is that he doesn't necessarily always display the level of boxing IQ that's required. He did way too much moving with Brian Castano. With Tony Harrison. You remember you and I were actually watching the fight with Tony Harrison,
And
You remember
Mel
I kept saying, dude, what is he doing? All he got to do, Tony Harrison keeps just wait for him to punch and punch with him. He'll get him up out of there. I said, I don't punch until you punch. As soon as he did that, he got him up out of there. He moved way too much with Brian Castano, way more than he needed to get him up out of there. Spence boxing IQ is way higher than Jermell Charlo's. In a fight with Brian Castano, I favor Errol Spence to get him up out of there in less than 10.
Yeah, plus with Kasani being Spence back in amateurs, if I'm not mistaken, Spence has more incentive to really get his ass up out of it even more. You know, to get that payback, get that revenge. Now, $1 Trillion Dream said Spence can't beat Tony Harrison.
Bullshit, he can't.
This the same Harrison that looked shaky as hell in his last couple of fights. That Harrison? Nah, Spence gets his ass up out of it. Yeah, I like Harrison. He's
Harrison a good fighter. Harrison a real good fighter. The reason why he was so competitive against Mel because Mel was fighting the wrong game plan. Mel fight the right game plan. He gets Tony Harrison out of there in under 5 rounds. Period.
Yeah, Harrison won't last. Harrison won't last. Not only that, this Harrison that we have now has lost his father, and he seems like his head isn't fully in it either. So I mean, this Harrison right now is not going to beat Spence. That's not going to happen.
I don't think so. And I see Jaden went back to Boots, and $1 Trillion Dream saying that Spence is better off fight Boots. I don't know, man. There's a part of me, and I'm going to be real with our subscribers. I like Errol Spence, and I really like Boots Ennis as well. And I don't think Errol's at an age right now where he should be passing a torch. And I don't want Boots to be in a situation where he goes against someone that is just too well seasoned at this point. And he, we're putting him into a situation where he's not going to win at this point. So for me, and because I like both of these fighters so much, my preference is for them not to fight right now. I would love to see Errol Spence fight him at 34 or 35. Because if he gets his ass whooped in, he's passing the torch to a kid that I think that can go on and become a legend. I'd much rather him fight Stanionis, but Stanionis really isn't an easy fight either. I think Stanionis is actually underrated in terms of his ability. So that's going to be a tough fight. I think Errol's in a tough situation, being that he's 32 years old and he has 2 mandatories. See, this is what no good deed goes unpunished. He went and he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He unified all of the titles other than the WBO. He did what he said he was going to do. Mm-hmm. And now he's basically in a position where he now has to face Stanionis or Boots Ennis because he did that. If Terence Crawford had done that, he'd be in the position where he had to fight him. But he took the easy route. Spence took the hard route. And now he's in a position where he has to take an even harder route.
Yeah. I mean, his mandatories are just...
It really sucks.
I mean, I don't want him to fight Thurman. Someone said mentioned him talking about give Thurman a shot. No, I don't want him to fight Thurman. Thurman just trying to get one more payday. Thurman is pretty much both feet damn near out of the ring right now. The retirement for him.
Yeah, Thurman, and we got to give love to our Floridian brother. He's actually from your city. You guys are like cousins. So
here we go with that bullshit.
No, there ain't no bullshit. He from your city.
No, he from Clearwater, man.
Clearwater and Tampa and St. Pete are all the same thing. So
you know what? I'm gonna let you slide on out right now.
If you guys are from Florida, you guys know what I'm talking about. Tampa Bay area, they're all the same thing. I like Thurman, man. I think people are overestimating how much money he's gonna make if he were to fight Thurman. And I think he's dead set on not fighting Thurman. And I don't see the benefit of fighting Thurman. Thurman doesn't have a belt. If Thurman doesn't have a belt and he doesn't really generate a whole lot of pay-per-view buys, then what's the point? I would even say if Bud Crawford didn't have the WBO belt, he shouldn't even waste his time with him because he doesn't sell.
Yeah.
Reddington Shores, stand up. I don't know what Reddington Shores is. I'm assuming you do.
That's on that side. That's on I want to say it's across the bridge.
Yeah, it's Tampa Bay. All you got, same city. Y'all all from the same place, man. You got to claim your brethren. Claim him.
Man, stop it, man. Thurman pissed me off a while back, man. I wanted him to do better, but he got hit with an injury bug, and then After that, he just ain't never been the same. Never been the same since then. Plus, now he just
He ain't been the same since he got married. He ain't been the same since he got married.
got that life,
And
that wife
we ain't
life.
knocking we ain't knocking marriage now. We both
Now
married, but
we know it. Yeah, things
we
change.
know it changes. It changes for sure.
Yeah, sure, change it.
Yeah, I don't love Thurman either. Bad Tito Bud would make more money fighting AB. AB. That'd be another song. So let's talk about that, man. Because we haven't talked about that yet.
About AB.
No, not AB. Terence Crawford. His record at 147 pounds. He's fought one legitimate fighter that I would say, man, that was a really good fighter at 147 pounds. I give him some credit for that.
Who, Sean Porter?
And that was Sean Porter.
Sean Porter had one foot out the ring, man.
True, but I'm just talking about name value.
Okay.
David, and now he's fighting David Avanesyan. He's making $10 million. He could have gave his fans, all the Bud Crawford fans that sit up and talk about they love Bud Crawford and he's this and he's that and he's this and he's that. He could have gave you guys a better fight for $10 million than David Avanesyan. What about Virgil Ortiz? Who was it that said that recently that Virgil that he was ducking Virgil?
Knee Machine. Knee Machine said he's
said that.
Yeah.
He could have fought Virgil Ortiz. Give our fans something that they would actually like to see, but instead he's more interested in lacing his pockets. So if we got any Bud Crawford fans in the building, please explain that to us. Since you guys are so ride or die and diehard Bud Crawford fans, why isn't he giving you guys a better fight than David Avanesyan? A guy that didn't he get knocked out by Mean Machine and didn't he lose to Lamont Peterson as well?
Oh yeah, he got beat by Mean Machine, I think, in 6 rounds, and Lamont beat him by a UD.
So why isn't he fighting someone better? Man, what we did something that in one of our videos of who he's fought. So he's fought Horn. Who is it he's fought at 147 pounds?
Horn, Mean
Porter,
Machine,
Mean Machine,
Porter, Kell Brook, special one at 99 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he hasn't fought the list of who's in their primes or close to their primes, you know.
He hasn't fought nobody at 147 pounds, and that's the shit that really pissed me off about the Roy Jones of the world, the Antonio Tarver, who's my Orlando brethren, who coincidentally keeps saying that he's more like Terence Crawford than in reality he's more like Errol Spence because he's technically sound. And he's more of a straight up and down fighter, and he uses the basics in order to win his fights. But it bothers me, man, that they sit up there talk about he got more tools in the tool belt. It always looks like you have more tools in the tool belt when you're fighting fighters that are B and C level opponents. Period. He can't get no fights. He's being blackballed. Blackballed by who?
Put himself in that situation.
Maybe if he was willing to take a guaranteed contract that was commensurate with his ability to actually put cheeks in seats, maybe he wouldn't be blackballed. Ever thought about that?
Yeah. Someone said who Spence fought at 147.
So he fought Danny Garcia, who wasn't Danny Garcia unified at 140?
I believe so.
He fought Sean Porter, who
had a belt.
Who everybody's giving
then he had
credit for.
Yeah, but Spence don't get credit for it.
He beat Ugas, who really beat Sean Porter, and then beat Manny Pacquiao, Manny Pacquiao beat Thurman, right? So the competition that Errol Spence has faced has been greater than the competition that the WBO champion has faced, because Errol Spence has faced all champions, or not all champions in his 147 pound, but recently he's faced a lot of the champions, as opposed to Terence Crawford, who's facing a lot of people who are just on Bob Arum's stable and who are not really highly regarded in the sport, or at least in that division.
Yeah.
Terrence Harris, who capping? What are we capping about? Please explain that. I would love to know. Fucking come on, Raymond Reyes. Postal? the only Postal.
That was at 140, wasn't it?
It was at 140. And Postal was given credit because he had Freddie Roach in his corner. Postal, for whatever reason, was hyped up to be whatever it was at that time. And now that we've seen Postal has lost several times since he fought Terence Crawford.
So did Terence Crawford beat everyone that was undefeated or something? Because that's what they're talking about.
Paulie Malignaggi says he beat a 47-year-old Pacquiao, but that 47-year-old Pacquiao beat Keith Thurman. And Keith Thurman is 47 years old.
And that 47 Pacquiao beat damn near basically everyone on Bud's resume.
Spence getting 1.5 to fight Stanton. I guess he means Stan Jonas.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And he'll get the upside on the pay-per-view as well. And Bud should actually be making $500,000 to fight whoever it is he fighting guaranteed. So that's fine, Terrence Harris. I'm totally fine with people getting paid their market value because that's what the sport should be based on. And their market value would actually go up if we had a situation where all these fighters, the best fighters, were actually fighting each other.
Pac made 1 time, 2 time. That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
funny. Correct, the Kegi. And Dungo has lost all kinds of fights since he fought Bud. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry, Terrence Harris. I don't know what y'all Aggie means.
No clue. That's
a younger Pac-Man. Yeah, I don't know what some of this means. In my opinion, it wasn't the Kell Brook who came down 2 weight classes after getting his eye socket broken by Triple G after only 8 months. Yep, Rockman, that's totally true. And that's the same Kell Brook that I'm pretty sure that you gave Terence Crawford credit for knocking out and said, oh my God, his ability to switch hit and make adjustments. It's amazing.
I don't think Rodman gave credit for that. But what time he fought at 154 or 160 when he fought Lil G?
He fought at
160. 160?
Yeah, 160.
Yeah, I mean that was a tough for Kell Brook. But Spence broke his other eye orbital.
So my thing is what Rockman is saying, and the way that his word is, he's suggesting that that's really not a good win for Errol Spence. But at the same time, Terence Crawford will beat that same individual, and everybody will talk about the fact that he just switched positions from southpaw to orthodox and say, man, he's the most amazing fighter we've seen last decade because he can do so many things. He has so many tools in the tool belt. It's all bullshit. It's similar to what we saw with Mayweather and Pacquiao. Every time Pacquiao beat a fighter, it was the greatest thing on earth. Mayweather beat that same fighter a year or two earlier, and they disregard it. I don't like that.
Yeah. And I agree with you, Rob, man. Brook was beating Lil G. I call him Lil G because I'm not a Triple G fan.
Yeah, he was. And there's $1 trillion dream. Now, this is something that I do agree with you on. And this is what we talked about earlier. The reason why we started moving toward the fact that we didn't really like Terence Crawford business decision was that he re-signed with Top Rank. Why the fuck would you re-sign with Top Rank?
Yep.
Why? There's an opportunity to either move to the PBC and fight all these fighters that you want to fight, but instead you re-signed with Bob Arum, probably because he offered you a contract where you know that it was worth way more than what you're worth, and he went back to him, and that was when I started feeling like, I don't know about Terence Crawford, man. I'm starting to feel a type of way about him, and I'm not really feeling how he's moving in these streets right now. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like, for one, let's get this clear out there. Because we don't like what Terence Crawford is doing from a business standpoint, doesn't mean we don't like him as a fighter. We've always respected Terence Crawford as a fighter and the skills that he has. We always say he's top 2, if not number 1 pound for pound out there. It's just his business dealings, and him re-signing with Bob Arum back in the day makes no fucking sense. We want to see him fight the best, just like everyone else does. So we're not hating on Terence at all.
Here's the other thing that I want to mention, man, and I've seen this a lot in some of the comment sections. The questioning of some of the comments that we're making relative to his business decisions and some of the information and some of the ways that we go about gaining information and some of the things that we're bringing back to our channels. First of all, I'm just going to give a little bit of background, and maybe this will give you guys some insight into the reason why I look at certain things the way I do. So I have a bachelor's degree from Florida A&M University. I have a master's degree. My bachelor's degree is in business administration. My master's degree is from Florida State University in economics. And so I currently work at the leadership level in a Fortune 500 company, and I'm responsible for the finances. And I'm a certified public accountant in the state of Georgia and Tennessee. So there's one thing I do know. I do know numbers. I do know business. I don't know everybody's business, but what I do know and I'm an expert on are numbers. And so I can look at numbers and say these numbers simply don't make sense. And that is the reason, that is the lens that I'm looking through when I make some of the comments that I make in regards to Terence Crawford's business dealings and the fact that the numbers don't make any sense. And Jay, you and I met in college. You don't have to give your background, but of course you are also educated in certain areas of business. And so, I don't get the hate. We're not saying that we're experts on everything that's related to boxing. I'm not a expert at the business, all the business relations of boxing. And I've said this on multiple occasions, but I do have insight into numbers, profit margin, and what makes sense from a dollar perspective. So guys, please don't question stuff like that. If you want to argue the merits of my argument, I'm fine with that. But all this stuff about you don't know anything about this, that, and the third, it's just not true.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to make a comment on that, bro.
nah, you said enough. You said enough on that. But it's just slave contracts. It's funny now.
Again, all this slave contract stuff. How is it a slave contract if that's the same thing that Errol Spence is getting, or something similar to that, where he may be getting something that's a little bit higher than the guarantee that Terence Crawford? And oh, by the way, I believe Terence Crawford did get a guarantee. It just wasn't a guarantee that he wanted. So how is it a slave contract when the contract states that you're going to get paid based off of the value that you bring to the organization? Jason, let me ask you a question. Aren't you paid based off the value that you bring to the organization that you currently work for?
Definitely.
I get paid based off the value that I bring to the company that I currently work for as well. Everybody on fucking earth gets paid for the value that they bring to an organization or a company that they work for. But somehow, Bud fans, when he gets paid based off of the value that he brings, they call it a slave contract. What fucking sense does that make? I don't get it.
Yeah. Crazy.
Errol in a slave contract. Bud is a boss. Yeah. Okay. Okay, man.
I was like,
What
he's a
what
boss.
makes please let us know what makes him a boss. What value Errol? I don't know what that means, Terrence Harris, but the value that Errol does bring to any fight that he makes is that he's done probably close to 1 million pay-per-view buys if you accumulate or add up all the pay-per-views that he's done over his career. So that's the value he brings. And Terence Crawford has done roughly 300,000. So based off that split, Terence Crawford, it probably should be an 80-20 split, not a 65-35 split. Errol Spence is actually doing his ass a favor.
He really is. I mean, he got Jared Jones in his back pocket for Cowboy Stadium. So, I mean, it's better than anything Omaha could do over there as far as sales.
Exactly. So those are the things, man, that really ruffle my feathers as we start to talk about some of this boxing. And we pride ourselves on bringing just hardcore facts. It's interesting because I'm going to go back to QT and how he was talking about.
Hold up, real fast. I mean, Harris said, "Are we mad? We ain't mad. The only thing I'm mad about is not getting the fight that we want. We deserve. We want to see. That's the legacy fight. That's the only thing I'm mad about. If Terence Crawford gets paid $10 million by BLK Prime or whoever else, more power to him. He ain't do shit for me. He ain't paying none of my bills, anything like that. So I have no reason to be mad.
Why
are we mad?
I mean, we are angry. I mean, that's the reason.
We angry, but I mean, we angry about different shit though.
We are angry. That's the reason why we call it that podcast. But we're not angered by Terence Crawford and his opportunity to earn $10 million. I don't care about that. But what I do care about is the sport. and I care about the survival of the sport. And just a little bit of history. I don't know what made you guys boxing fans, but the reason why I'm a boxing fan is because when I was a little kid, my dad on every Saturday when there was a fight going on, whether it was on HBO or ABC, I used to sit down there. I couldn't sit on the couch when you were a kid. You couldn't sit on the couch in my house.
Sit
So
your
you had
ass
to
on the floor.
sit your ass on the floor. And I would sit there on the floor, and my dad would sit on the couch, and we would watch fights together. I never forget when I watched Mike Tyson lose to Buster Douglas. I was watching that live. I cried like a baby. Um, and I watched fights all through until I went to college. And then when I got to college, I was so busy I didn't watch them. And then when I got out of college, I started back watching. I love the sport, and anything that I see in the sport that seems like it's killing the sport, I have an issue with. So no, I don't have a problem with Bud Crawford, but I do have a problem with his business practices because I think those are the business practices that are helping to kill the sport. So if you have a problem with me having a problem with someone who I think is helping to kill the sport, then that's on you.
Yeah, it's like for me, my dad was a boxer. My dad boxed in the Marine Corps back in the day. He also was a trainer. He helped train. He was one of the trainers for Lloyd Huntington and Johnny Beast Mugabe. He also trained in Tampa and in Safety Harbor. He worked with other fighters as well, from Floyd Peavy to Mark Breland and some others. So I mean, that's when I fell in love with the sport, just watching it and learning from him. So watching that shit, we used to watch that shit every Saturday, every all day, because that's when he's back in the day. Boxing used to come on around like noon, around like 12, 1 o'clock. So we used to watch that on probably like I think in Tampa it was like 44, whatever channel it was. So that's my background in boxing, and I've been watching ever since. Taking classes, I was a trainer, personal trainer for 10 years. Worked with some other boxers that taught me more stuff about the game. So the knowledge of the game has been with me forever. And I'm with same thing with Greg. I don't want to see anything that's going to damage the sport. Yeah, you can talk about the PBC with some of the stuff PBC did. We talked about PBC on a previous podcast about how they overpaid for other fighters as well, such as like E.J. Smith, all the money they paid him, and he wasn't worth it at the time. So I mean, we don't care who the entity is. We're not all pro PBC. We want the fighters to win. We want to see the best fights to be made.
I appreciate that. Hey, so somebody in the comment section asked, I think it was Jay. Jay is our guy, man. He's been with the channel for a long time now. He asked, do we think that um the
Tank and Ryan.
Garcia and Tank is gonna happen?
I do. It's going. I mean, it's going to happen.
Happen,
It's
right?
supposed to be rumored to happen. I want to say January. In January, February, supposedly that's when this rumor happened. Initially, I know Tank and Garcia and Ryan talked about fighting in December. I know Tank has a court date. I want to say maybe December 5th or something like that. So they're looking at December 3rd, but I don't think that's going to happen because we're too close to it. Not enough time. Have what 5-6 weeks to December 3rd. So it's not enough time for them really to get the marketing in for that fight. That fight is going to sell big just because of the following they both have. And I want Tank to knock his ass out too. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, Greg.
No, I didn't say anything. I just saw AY say Errol brought the chessboard and the pieces to the table. All Bud had to do was play. Errol's the boss. Hey, that's some G shit right there, AY. That's a great way to look at it. I hadn't even thought about it, man. Good post.
Mm-hmm.
Taryn Harris said, I can't take y'all serious. Taryn, why you can't take us serious, bro? And I'm interested in hearing what the Terence Crawford fans are saying because I've challenged. So there's a channel solely devoted to Terence Crawford. It's called Terence Crawford something KO Errol Spence, something like that. And he
Wow.
was in the chat. Yeah, he was in the chat, and he was trying to debate, and he was talking about stuff about Errol Spence saying that Terence Crawford needed a belt, and I showed him proof that Errol Spence had originally said that he doesn't really even play into the politics of all that. He was really just looking for the fights with the people that were currently at the PBC, and this was before Terence Crawford had even moved up to 147 pounds. So I'm just AY is a fanboy. Errol had nothing to do with the negotiations. But Rockman, he's bringing everything to the table, bruh. That's what he's talking about. He's bringing everything to the table.
Mm-hmm.
He's bringing everything to the table.
Spence has nothing without Bud.
Yeah, some of these fans, man, I'm struggling with, bro. I'm struggling with some of these fans. Like, what are you talking about? Spence is nothing without.
Without
Spence
Bud.
is with the larger organization, at least the organization that has all the 147 pounders, which is the PBC. So why the fuck does he need Terence Crawford? Like, what are you talking about? Yes, Byron Bradley, you're correct. Bud needs Spence. Like, Spence don't need Bud. What Spence needs Bud in order to actually make the or become undisputed. That's why he needs Bud, but he doesn't need Bud in terms of dollars. He doesn't need Bud in terms of moving up to 154 pounds. What are you laughing about?
Oh man, Terrence, can Spence get 10 million without Canelo or Bud? Oh my gosh. So now we're stuck on the 10 million that Bud's supposedly getting for fighting David in December. Ugh.
So, no, I do not believe. I'm going to answer that question. No, I do not believe Errol Spence can get $10 million. I don't believe he can get it without Canelo. I don't believe he can get it with Terence Crawford. And I believe if he were the one that had, so if Errol Spence had met Blue Blood randomly in a 7-Eleven a few weeks ago, he'd be the one with $10 million. Supposedly, since you guys believe that that's actually real. B-Dog, I don't disagree with that. I mean, all you got to do is look at some of the details associated with BLK Prime, and I mean, anybody that doesn't have a little bit of doubt in terms of their ability to deliver on this fight and to deliver on the $10 million, they're foolish. And I'm going to say this, and this ain't going to be popular, Jay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to preface my comments by saying that these are not the opinions and thoughts of Jason. These are the opinions and thoughts of Greg. You and I have both gone to a PBC, an HBCU.
Mm-hmm.
I love HBCUs. We have also been or had the privilege to do business with other Black entities. I love my Black people, but we ain't always on our shit. And we've seen that from an HBCU perspective, and we've seen that in business dealings that we've had. So we're getting better, we're progressing, and we're getting to the point where we're doing better at business. But when I look at this organization specifically, and the fact that this organization is primarily driven by African Americans who have no experience in this area, I do have a concern, and I would have a concern whether they were Black or white or any kind of race. But I just don't really see this panning out the way that it should pan out. And people are that's not a popular opinion. I support Black business, but I just don't see how this is going to work with an entity that has not had the chance to actually operate in this space. And it's not the fault of African Americans, because a lot of times we don't have the actual resources to actually operate at the level that we should operate at. But that is the concern that I have, that we're in a situation where this isn't backed by some kid that goes to Indiana University, like what's the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, Mark Cuban.
Oh, Mark Cuban, yeah.
Who has a bunch of friends who parents have owned stock and they're in Wall Street and all that stuff. A lot of times we don't have those same resources, so we're in situations where it's more likely that we're going to fail. So I'm concerned about that.
Oh man, yeah. It's put the money up, pony the money up. I just hope Mr. Harris is going to be paying that $40 on top of $40 for all his friends and everyone else to watch that fight in December if it happens.
Mr. Harris, who's that?
Terrion Harris.
What is he saying?
Teron Harris talking about we big mad. Who the big fish now? We lost the argument. There ain't no argument, dude.
Terrion Harris, the big fish is Errol Spence. Terence Crawford is being paid way above his pay grade. He found a sucker that was willing to actually subsidize him again So that does not make him the big fish. The big fish is the one that could dictate the actual terms. He was willing to agree to a 35-65 split until he actually ended up getting this deal. So who's the big fish? Your logic makes absolutely no sense. Tyrion, explain to us why he agreed to the 35-65 split according to all you Terence Crawford fans if he's the big fish.
Yeah, it's right now. Bottom line is we ain't getting the fight we want and we deserve. Point blank, period. If you want to be a pro Bud fan, pro Spence fan, whatever, the blame game, we ain't getting the fight. Bottom line. Also, bottom line is Spence has 3 belts, Terence has 1. Spence is a bigger draw than Bud. That's all facts.
All facts. These are opinions. We don't even base our channel on opinions. These are all facts, bruh. Everything that we're saying is a fact. When you look at the pay-per-view sales, Spence has done almost 1 million. Terence Crawford has done about 300,000. When you look at live gates, Spence has been able to fill Cowboy Stadium. Terence Crawford has filled the auditorium in Omaha. I don't even know what it is. What the fuck do they have? Do they have any sports or any teams in Omaha, Nebraska?
Outside of Cornhuskers, not that I know of.
But is Nebraska the football team? I mean, the college football team, is it in Omaha? I don't think, is it?
I believe it's in Omaha, yeah.
Oh, okay. So they got Cornhuskers there, and that is pretty much it. So I mean, what are we, bro? What are you talking about? Terry Harris. See, this is the thing that you see with people that really don't have an argument, man. They try to win arguments with basically no facts at all. It's just, oh, you're salty. You're salty. You're salty.
And Pete, someone said the 10 million is going to be the gate as well. I'm like, do you think a lot of celebrities are going to be flying to Omaha for Bud to fight this cat in December, man?
No.
How much are they charging for the tickets for the fight?
So riddle me this, Terry Harris. I just want to ask this question real quick, Jay. Riddle me this, Terry Harris. Why, since you're such a Bud lover and you're a big fan of his, why isn't it that he's giving you the fights that you really want? I mean, why is he fighting David Avanesyan for $10 million? He should be fighting somebody he's really gonna give you a show. He's really gonna give you something to think about. So Terry Harris, please tell us why is that the case? I mean, you're the Bud fan representative in the chat right now, so we really want to know. We really want to know about from you Bud fans because we don't really understand how your brains work. Damn, Rob Unique say he ain't supporting Bud or Spence.
He tired of the bullshit because it takes 2 to tango, and I get it. I get it. Whether it's
I get it. But that means that then Errol Spence will have to take something way less than what he's worth. And I can understand why you wouldn't want to do that because I already feel like he made a concession when he agreed to 65-35 if you look at the pay-per-view sales.
Yeah.
Bud didn't want to smoke even if he was a firefighter. Damn. Well, some of these folks coming with some zingers. So, I had some zingers.
Man, I can't. What time? When is that fight supposed to be for Bud? December 3rd, December 10th?
December 10th.
10th? Okay, I can't wait till December 10th. After that date, if the fight happens, if he wins, loses, draw, whatever happens, so we can talk about that.
Let me ask you a question, man. I mean, I know this bullshit and all, but man, what if we tune into the fight, man? And as soon as you tune in, man, the camera all shaky and shit. You see in the background, man, there's a dude over there, man, holding his cell phone and he recording the fight. You see a dude over there you see a dude on the apron, man, holding his cell phone. They all recording the fight. Hey, listen, man, an entity that had a real estate agent and a high school principal as the CEO and vice president as recent as 2 to 3 years ago, I would not be putting my career in the hands of these people. I would not be trusting these people at this point. Not when they have not done anything related to boxing. There ain't no way in hell I'd be doing that shit.
It's just, I mean, bottom line is we all want to see the fight, Bud and Spence. We want to see that fight since the very beginning.
The question is, why didn't PBC offer him a fight or offer he couldn't refuse? I mean, they did offer him they did make him an offer he couldn't refuse. I mean, shit, if you look at the economics of the fight, he should have been getting 80-20. So shit, he got a good deal. They gave him an extra 15%. Timothy Grant, what are you talking about? The Keggy, I don't know. I'm just saying the Keggy. It could be on a cell phone. Seriously, I don't know what when you look at who the COO and VP were. You gotta start thinking that other things could be said. Somebody told me that the promotional material already had mistakes in it.
Yeah, I heard about that.
The promotional material for the fight between Terence Crawford and David Avanesyan already had errors in the promotional material. So I don't know what these guys are gonna pull out. You never know. Maybe that's how they're gonna pay him $2 million, man. They're gonna use cell phones to actually record the fight. Use their homeboys.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, man. This fight, we'll just see what happens once, Bud fights David, and then we'll see who Spence fights. If Spence is going to fight Stanionis or Boots, I'm still happy. I take that as a consolation prize right now.
I mean, I'll take it, man, but I'm not thrilled with that fight for Errol Spence.
No.
I think it puts him in a very precarious situation, man, in terms of fighting Stanionis, staying at 147 pounds for longer than what he should be. I was cool with him risking that to fight Terence Crawford, because you're risking that to really cement yourself in the sport of boxing, man, and you're risking to really achieve greatness. So I don't have a problem with him doing that. But in order to fight Stanionis, to take that risk, it doesn't make business sense to me. Like, I would have to question what Al Heyman and Errol Spence are doing if they do that. Like, why are you fighting Stanionis? Other than Errol Spence saying to himself, you know what? I want to be undisputed so bad, I'm willing to make the risk of fighting Stanionis to stay at the weight class a little bit longer in order for me to become the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. If he's doing that, man, that is a real sacrifice and a real dedication to actually fighting Terence Crawford. And that would actually prove to all the naysayers that really the issue with making this fight is Terence Bud Crawford.
Yeah, I mean,
but I bet no one in the chat right now that's supporting Terence Crawford would actually be able to defend that.
Why isn't Bud fighting his mandatory in Virtual Ortiz?
Because similar to what Gus Fring is saying, he's chasing money. Terence Crawford is chasing money. If I had to bet, I would say Terence Crawford is looking to have 2 or 3 more fights and cash out. That is what he's looking to do.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
I don't begrudge any fighter for trying to get their dollars. Like I said in the past, and I said on this live stream earlier, we're not the ones that are getting punched in the head. So yes, he should be trying to maximize his dollars. The problem that I have is that he's also trying to minimize his risk.
Yeah, that's funny.
Paramount is even interested in boxing. I guess I missed that. I'm not sure why we're talking about Paramount. Hey, lesson learned. Errol should have his fight on the same night. That would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be
I think the only problem with that logic, though, man, is that I think it would be difficult in order to validate what the pay-per-view sales are, because BLK Prime is not going to actually distribute that information. They probably won't comment on it at all. So, yeah. I mean, the value in it is probably not as much as we think, because we're not going to get any kind of report to compare the two fights. But we all know who will sell more. I mean, it's going to be Spence, especially if Spence fights Stanionis on the same night, and he's fighting David Avanesyan, a person that nobody believes that can actually beat Terence Crawford. The clear winner on that night would be easy.
Yeah, it wouldn't be close. It wouldn't be close because the venue's not going to be even close as far as the attendance what they could have. Especially if he's going to fight, he's fighting in Omaha, and Spence may fight in Texas or New York, wherever. It's still going to be a bigger venue than Bud either way. But
hey. All right,
you ain't getting the fight.
we've been on for like an hour and 40 minutes now, man. So I'm gonna transition solely to the chat. If you guys have questions for us that you want us to answer, I will say over the next 20 minutes we'll just work to answer those questions. Um, so I'm interested in hearing what you guys have to say. So let me get my. T. Ward said, "What if the streaming service can't even handle 200,000 simultaneous streams?" That's a great
That's a
question.
great question.
So, see, that goes back to the company having the ability and looking at just the people who were in charge of the organization before. It goes back to credibility, right? So when you have the requisite people in charge and those people have the requisite skills and experience in order to carry out such a thing, then you don't have those concerns. You believe that those things can actually happen. And so in this particular situation with Terence Crawford, I mean, we don't know. I mean, they could get up and then all of a sudden all of it crash and then you have an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, so they've been streaming. So what they've been doing on demand. So on demand service is going to work a little bit different from a stream. An on demand service, you just pulling from a database. A live stream is going to be a different process. So I don't know, man. I mean, if they can't handle it, then it just proves what we've been saying all along is that this entity wasn't really in a place where they could actually do something like that. But to Terence Crawford's credit, he's put himself in a position, if the $10 million is true, where
Yeah.
there's no risk to him. He just gets paid.
Yeah. No risk, high reward on that.
I would say the only risk is that any fan that's
Injury.
watching that fight, no, any fan that's watching that fight, and then all of a sudden the stream crash, you're gonna have a lot of people that are like, I'm not fucking with this dude ever again. So he could damage his reputation, but I
But
don't know how much his reputation could be damaged in the first place.
but that won't be on him. That'll be on BOK Prime, which I'm hoping, just for their sake that it does well. If they are able to do the promotion, the fight for him in December. So I'm hoping it's good for him. Now someone else asks on, do we think the fight is dead? Overall, I know you think it's dead.
Fight's dead.
I have little hope for it, but with Spence saying that he doesn't want to be at the weight much longer, although he wants to be undisputed, but he can't keep waiting, And same thing goes with Bud. Bud's 35. They can't keep pushing this fight back on either side. Whatever side you want to be on, whoever you want to blame, they can't keep pushing this fight much longer because it's going to be Pac Mayweather all over again. So I mean, the quality of the fight ain't gonna be what it once was if they keep going like this. And plus, they both got to get through their next fights. Spence has a tougher test than Crawford, hands down.
Agreed. So Jay asks, who do we think is the next? I'm sorry, that's not Jay. Who do you guys? It's Keith Brodney. Who do you guys think is the next up and coming welterweight superstar? It's Boots Ennis.
Boots, hands down, Boots.
I mean, that's an easy one for me. It's Boots Ennis. The kid shows.
It took you a while to come over to the Boots side, though.
No, I didn't. So my thing is this: Boots still has to prove it, right? I'm always about you having to prove it, but everything that I've seen from Boots so far, he would be the next superstar. And man, I just love that kid and his dad, man. Boy, I just love those dudes, man. The humbleness in which they operate under, the kid's confidence yet humble, the skill set that the kid brings to the ring. I just really like that kid. So that's who I believe is the next superstar. We actually did a little small snippet video of just some of his highlights, and we called it the Superstar Series for Boots Ennis. So he's the man next, in my opinion.
Yeah, Boots definitely the man next up. I just want to see who he can get next. Because the last dude he fought, the Canadian, he went up the dude. He didn't turn out to be what we thought he was going to be as far as competition for Boots. He didn't even try. Like he was defeated before he even got in the ring with Boots. Which can happen with a fighter of that caliber. But we want to see Boots push by another test. We would love to see, if he don't fight Spence or Bud, we'd love to see him fight Ortiz, Stanionis. Love to see him fight Thurman. Put Thurman out, see what Thurman can do. Have him fight Ugas. That'd be a very interesting fight as well.
Yep. Jay said, if you were Al in the PBC, would you still try to make the fight with Bud? No, we wouldn't, or at least I wouldn't. Um, so Bud has already proven himself to be very difficult to negotiate with, and so why continue to waste your time? When you negotiated with him on the first round, he showed that he was not negotiating in good faith. So why continue down that path? He doesn't really have any other options, as far as I'm concerned, outside of fighting Errol Spence. And so why would I continue to just go down that path, especially if Errol Spence has moved up to 154 pounds? There's really no reason to fight him because he won't become undisputed, which was his ultimate goal to begin with. So I wouldn't.
I mean, for me, I would give it another chance, because at 147, that is the fight to make. But it'll be a short lease on the whole situation. It ain't gonna be months and months of ongoing for next year. After they fight in December, each fighter fights in December. It's gonna be a short lease. You have by such and such date, we have to have this deal signed. If not, we're both moving on. You go your way, we'll go our way. Because I deep down, I think both fighters want the fight, regardless of all the bullshit that's been said on all sides.
I agree. So Third Eye says no business investors give away money for nothing in return to make it make sense. So I agree with that. Usually someone that has $10 million is smart enough to know that he's not going to get a return on this type of investment. He would have done all the analytics associated with Bud Crawford, and he would understand the business model that they currently have at BLK, and he would not be interested in trying to use or leverage Bud Crawford in order to get additional subscribers or try to move that business into a model where they can actually do pay-per-views for boxing. So he would have already done that analysis. I know from a business perspective at any company I work for, if we're going into a new venture like that, we would have already done all of that analysis. So I believe that there's no angel investor that would risk that type of money to support this type of fight. I just can't see it.
Yeah, Gus asked about Dana White probably purchasing the PBC on there. I don't know about Dana White. I mean, he does a lot of marketing. He's a hell of a does with marketing with the UFC for sure. But it's just all the stuff I read about also about Dana not paying his fighters. So it's like if that's the case, it's gonna be the same thing as far as some fighters have complained about PBC not paying them. But also I've seen that some of the fighters that want to just get paid up front ain't working. They're not being marketable for themselves, and they're not fighting the best either. So it's a combination of things on there. So I'm not so sold on Dana being over the PBC.
I have no comment on that. T Ward says upscaling from VOD to live streaming requires a stress test, so expect something free on platform prior to the event. That makes a whole. T Ward is probably the smartest subscriber I've seen. Like he just has a lot of insight that, and this is no knock to our other subscribers, but he brings a different perspective that sometimes I'm not even thinking about. Man, good shit, T Ward. Let's see here. To support Bud, so Brian Swain says, "Sir, you know business. To support a payout of $10 million to Bud undercard fighters, how much money have to be generated?" So they're not. So the model of the zone and someone that's just doing a live stream, they don't have a lot of the in between guys. So they would typically have a promoter, but in this situation, I don't think they do. So they probably not paying a promoter fee. And so in order to pay him $10 million and for them to make a profit margin that actually makes sense, which I would say was probably around 30%, I would say they probably need to make 16 or $17 million. But that doesn't include a lot of the fees associated with distributing it, the live stream, the costs associated with that, like absorbing bandwidth and those types of things. Like I mentioned Ryan in the past. He and I actually were thinking about starting what we call a Cybox back like that was like 16, 17, 18 years ago. Bandwidth costs to actually stream is actually relatively expensive. So, I mean, there's a cost associated with that. And I've been away from that for so long, I can't tell you exactly. But I would say they probably still need to get up to $22-25 million in order to clear a $10 million purse to him and make a profit margin on it, will be my opinion. Oh, Jay, I don't know if you got any thoughts on that.
I didn't even see it. They really trying to say one of these fighters is scared. They're saying Spence is scared of Bud. I'm like, someone said that like Bud could have fought Spence back in 2018. The thing is this: Spence had a plan. He laid a plan, said what he was going to do from the get go. Said he was going to get all the belts on his side because it's the easiest way to go. We know the problems with Bob Arum and Floyd, PBC, and things of that nature there. And plus, Bud was just getting to 147. He hadn't gotten a belt at the time when they had a talk once before. Once he beat Jeff Horn, he got a belt. Spence was still on his way to get all the belts on his side. So that fight back then wouldn't have been the same magnitude as it is now because all the chips are on the line right now. Versus back then, it would have just been one belt versus one belt.
I mean, I don't agree with that. Bud had the ability to fight Spence when he moved up to 147 pounds. The WBO allows for the rule that if you are a super champion, you have the ability to move up and fight the up or down to fight the titleists at that weight class. The IBF has no such rule, so I don't believe Bud had the opportunity to just move up and force a fight with Spence.
Yeah. Not to mention between 2018 and last year, Spence has had what 2.5 years off due to the car accident and the surgery.
Yeah.
So that pushed things back even further.
Tony, Terrence Harris, you a hater, bro. Boy, I swear this dude don't have any other argument other than we're haters. like, dude, come with a logical, sound reasoning. Use your logic and come with reasoning, and we will have no problem with arguing or debating the logic or the merits of what we're saying or what you're saying. But stop with we're just a hater. I mean, come on, bro, do better. Maybe Boots and EJ sell more than Bud. I doubt it. I mean, maybe EJ and Bud sells more than I think Boots. That's what he's saying. Well, man, I don't see any more questions really in the comment section, my brother.
Yeah.
Taryn Harris again. You just sound like a hater. No, I sound like somebody, man, that's skeptical about what I'm hearing, and I'm the type of person that I need to connect the dots, Taryn. And if I can't connect the dots on something, then I question it. And if that makes me a hater, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, Jackie. They just got older. They did get over. I mean, I know they could have fought more than once, but all the chips weren't at the table at the time. You know, it would just been 1-for-1. You know, at this stage, this is for undisputed. You know, they can still fight more than once, fighting for undisputed right now. So, but I would have loved to see the fight early on as well.
Gus Frink said, "Where do we think the money is coming from?" So this is what I'll say, Gus. I don't want to necessarily specifically speculate. If BLK can cover the $10 million and make a profit associated with this fight, then I would say BLK has an angel investor that has an interest in this organization going to the next level. And why he's doing that, I don't know, because it doesn't make any business sense to me. Because again, when you pay a fighter like Bud Crawford this amount of money, you're now setting the market value for future fights for all other fighters. And so if I'm a fighter that's been on any kind of pay-per-view card or someone that's just, a star level fighter or a superstar level fighter, let's say Jermell Charlo, let's just say he left the PBC and wanted to go there. He's never done a pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken. But he could probably easily say, I need $4 or $5 million.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if Errol Spence were to go there, he could say, I need 30. Canelo go there, he said, I need 200, 300. So you're setting the market value for fighters that you cannot sustain. And so I find it very challenging and hard to believe that anybody that has $10 million is not smart enough and bright enough to have people around him that would do the numbers and the analytics on this and would tell him that this is a poor business decision. That's why I don't believe the $10 million exists.
Yeah, I don't believe it exists neither. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens if the fight happens. It happens. If it don't, then we'll know the money really wasn't there. It's just hard to think of the money of that magnitude is out there for a startup company in a sense that only does amateur boxing, and for a fighter that's not highly marketable like that.
It makes no sense to me at all. It makes no sense to me. I still can't wrap my mind around it. Even with that model cutting out cable companies and stuff, I can't wrap my mind around it.
He said maybe they found a lottery winner.
Yeah, they could have. Maybe they found somebody that's really. I mean, it's probably Terrence Harris. Terrence Harris is probably the one that's actually funding the fight. Terrence, are you there? You probably the one that's funding the fight, right? Did you hit the lottery and now you're the one that's funding Terence Crawford because you got such a man crush on him? Terrence Harris gonna get me for that, man. I shouldn't have said that.
Timothy Grant, I don't think Boots is gonna get done like Devin was done back, when Devin was trying to break into the 135 for titles. I don't think that's gonna happen to Boots.
Yeah,
well,
Terrence Harris.
For one, Spence nor Crawford, or Crawford, neither one's gonna be at 147 much longer than probably middle one more fight if they don't fight each other after this stuff happens in December. So once that happens, the belts will be vacated, then they'll be up for grabs, and Boots will be able to get his just due.
Yeah. Hey, Terrence Harris, I can't wrap my mind around it. And it has nothing to do with Errol Spence. I can't wrap my mind around it because it's an individual that has done 135,000 pay-per-view buys at most in his career. And they're saying that they're going to charge $39.99. So if you take 135,000 and multiply that by $39.99, that's $6 million. The math doesn't make sense. So why I'm questioning it is it's basic arithmetic, and education is why I'm questioning it. And I'm just not a fanboy that's just falling in love with some man and willing to believe everything that he says. So that is the reason why I can't wrap my mind around it. Math, science and math, my brother.
Yeah.
Only a beta would support Errol over Crawford, given the facts on the same night. Okay, I guess we betas then, Timothy Grant. Huh? I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. Now Spencer.
Cap Terrence Harris. They didn't do 190,000 pay-per-views versus Porter. That's cap. So stop. Cap. He did 135,000 pay-per-view buys versus Porter. So stop capping. That's the new word that the young boys use. Cap. That's right, Gus Fring. Simple arithmetic, my man. It doesn't take a genius to understand that. I'm taking one number and multiplying it by another and then comparing it to the number that they're saying that they're paying them. And one is higher than the other ones, which means that the person that's fronting the money is losing money. It's just that damn simple. Has nothing to do with because of Errol Spence. Terrence Harris, you know you beta. Only person that sound like a beta is you, my man. Sound like right now, if Terence Crawford was in the same room with you, you'd be on your knees. How about that? Just I'm beta.
Oh man.
And Terrence Harris ain't no damn official reports relative to his pay-per-view buys because Arm didn't put anything out. Stop it. Stop lying.
Exactly, Gus. Like we like Bud too, but he doesn't sell.
He doesn't sell. That's what it is. He doesn't sell. So and dude, I like, but how many times we said this fight is 50-50, bro? How many times we said this fight is 50-50?
Too many times, man.
1,000 times we thought this fight is 50-50. We said this fight is 50-50. We like Bud as a fighter. We don't like him as a businessman. I mean, it's just that simple. Terrence Harris, you beta, bro. That's facts. Terrence, I think you're a beta. That's facts. I think you don't have the requisite level of intellect to actually to decipher, or maybe you might be really 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 smart, and you got a high level of estrogen in your system, and you're just very emotional. So either way it goes, you just can't make a smart decision. Oh, by the way, I don't mind returning fire when you're trying to be slick at the mouth and talking about betas, because there ain't no betas living here. Career pay-per-view, C War, Errol Spence is
See,
probably at about 1 million pay-per-views, and Terence Crawford is probably at about 300,000 for their careers. Third eye, that's correct. It doesn't make sense business-wise. That's the only thing that we're saying. Like, the numbers don't make sense to us. Like, if I could wrap my mind around the numbers, then I could get it. And like I said before, guys, I'm an economics and finance person, so I can't wrap my mind around the numbers. The numbers need to make sense to me, and currently they don't.
Yeah, Jackie said Charlo is beatable. Charlo is definitely beatable. We talked about Mel a while back. He definitely has flaws and definitely beatable.
Yeah, Terrence Harris again. What about the low ball offer? What low ball offer are you referring to? You're talking about the offer that is based off of the fact that he puts a certain level of cheeks and seats. Because that sounds like a fair offer to me. They gave him 35-65. I've already told you based off the pay-per-views over their careers, the split should actually be 80-20. So he got a pretty fair deal. He got 15% more than what he's worth. What does he keep talking about? Everybody gets a 50-50 other than Bud. I've seen a lot of these fans saying that everybody gets a 50-50 other than Bud. Who else got a 50-50? The only person I'm aware of that got a 50-50 was Mikey Garcia, and that was the first pay-per-view. Outside of that, nobody else got a 50-50. And please stop saying Ugas, because Ugas didn't get a 50-50 either, because I know that's your next comment.
Yeah, Japan, exactly. Spence versus Mikey did more than a couple of Buds pay-per-views put together. And before we've also said that we never said Spence was a superstar like Canelo, but he's a bigger star than Bud.
So Trill Hill said that Ugas got a guarantee. I think Bud got a guarantee, guys. I think the whole notion that they say that Bud didn't get a guarantee, I think that's bullshit. I think he got a guarantee. It's just that the guarantee wasn't what he wanted. The comment section is just so interesting, dude. I mean, I'm glad in this live stream we got some Bud fans, because prior to this we didn't get very many. So that's interesting. Well, Terrence Harris, I'm horrible at business. I'm okay with that. There's somebody that don't think that I'm horrible at business, and they pay me a fair salary because they don't think I'm horrible at business. So I'm okay with you believing that. That's okay. Yeah, I think this is Triller all over again, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I think it's Triller 2.0, but we'll see. I mean, BLK Prime, I mean, just on the strength, I hope they do well. You know,
Yeah, because it's a black organization, man. So you really do want to see them do well. That's the part where it's like, yeah, I feel you there.
you know, but I just my heart of hearts and just looking at it, it don't look good. It don't look promising. You know, it damn sure don't look sustainable.
That's the thing, man. That's the part where it's like you want to see them be successful, but then when you look at the numbers and they don't make any sense, I don't know. It looks bad. How do you? So Terrence Harris, how do you know that he made more money with Bud? He probably, if he did make more money with Bud, it's probably because he could demand a higher split with Bud versus Errol Spence, because Errol Spence is the big fish and Terence Crawford is not. That's the reason why he made more money. Terrence Harris, damn, you set yourself up for that L. Ooh, woo.
Robert Scott says, "Do you guys believe he signed a multi-fight deal?" For Bud, I don't know if he'll sign a multi-fight deal. Not with PBC right now. I mean, because if he was going to find a multi-fight deal, it should have been now. It should have been for the tune-up, and then it should have been for a fight with Spence and a rematch with Spence. So I don't know if that would happen again.
Yeah. Terrence says I'm not the boss, man. How many of us are the boss of our own companies? Companies that actually make a substantial amount of money. Most of us are not, and I fall into that category as well, Terrence. So you're correct. I'm not a boss, but I do get paid a substantial amount of money to tell people when numbers don't make sense and when they're not going to make money based off of an investment that they're making. I do make a lot of money doing that. So I'm now advising you and Terence Crawford, your love crush, that and BLK, that this is a bad deal for them and they're probably not going to be able to make the money back that they're going to spend on Terence Crawford. How about that, my friend? Triller at least gave us verses. They did. I love verses, especially Jeezy versus um uh damn, why am I losing them right now? Jeezy versus Gucci. Damn.
No, that 3-6 and Bone was good too.
Yeah, that was good. And UGK and 8 Ball and MJG was also good.
Yeah.
T. Ward said, I'm a boss and my family is prosperous due to my business acumen, but Terrence is ignoring me. T. Ward, I believe everything you saying, man. Some of the stuff that you said on some of the videos that we've had, I can tell, man, you know a lot of shit, man.
T be on it.
Yeah, TB on it, man, for sure.
Let them know, Buzz.
Let them know, Terrence, you need to go back to school. Some basic algebra can't break down the cost. You're not good enough to get it out of the mud. Pay the college tuition / pay. I don't know what that means. Are you saying that I didn't? You saying I'm not good enough to get it out of the mud, so I had to pay college tuition? Is that what he's saying? I think that's what he's saying. So, Taryn Harris, can you please share in the chat what it is that you do for a living and how you were so successful getting it out of the mud? Everybody's inquiring. We really want to know. Apparently, man, you making a whole lot of dollars, my friend.
Making a lot of coin. Yeah.
That boy must be getting paper, man. He can talk a lot.
Javon 1007 got a good point. Said Bud missed big fights with Spence, Pacquiao, Mackey, Broner, and Lomachenko. Why? Because he'll be the B side, and the ego and pride won't allow him to get paid less. B-level fighters for Bud only.
Hey man, so we got another dude, Taryn Harris, man. He talking money again, like that dude Nunu. I'm trying not to go there. I don't want to go there. Talk me off the ledge, Jay, because I'm about to embarrass him. Hey, Taryn Harris.
Hey, ain't no need.
No. Taryn Harris.
See it.
No. Taryn Harris. I can fit about 10 of your apartments in my house. I can fit about 10 of my apartments in your house. Stop talking that money shit, man. You don't want to go there, man. Don't all that business. You don't know, but stop. Just stop, bro. You ain't on this level. Stop. So I'm done with you. I'm done with you because you're bringing me out of my character, man. I don't really like to go there. Okay, Jay, I'm back.
Anyway, the comments, take care of themselves. People see the bullshit he's spewing.
T Ward, getting it out of the mud by working our channel, bro. This channel is fun. We've actually talked about this in the past. We don't make money off this channel. This channel is just a boxing community that we do, that we have fun doing, that we do in our spare time. We're actually family men. We're around our house a lot. We're around our families a lot. And this is the thing that we do, man, as an extracurricular. We don't make money off of this like some of the other boxing channels you will see. We don't make any cash off this at all.
That's just too funny.
Yeah, man. So, bro, we've done about 2 hours, man. It was good, man. It was a good opportunity to get together, talk about what's going on in the world of boxing. Like we said before, guys, we're gonna keep bringing live streams. We haven't been doing it for several weeks, but we want to get back to doing it. And it's just because, the trials and tribulations of life, right? There's a whole lot of things that are currently going on or that were going on with both of us. And so we want to start back doing the live chats, and we'll continue to do it once a week. Probably more than likely, I would say it's going to be on a Sunday, probably around the same time. Gives us the opportunity to get a couple hours in if we need to. And it also gives us the opportunity, to go and spend time with the family. So much love and respect to all you guys that showed up, even Terrence Harris.
We appreciate you all.
We appreciate y'all, man. We enjoy actually having the conversations. And again, don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We like to bring fresh content and different perspectives, as you guys have seen with some of the last videos that we've done and videos that we've done in the past as well. We don't do the same thing that other channels do. We do something a little bit different. And so you can always rest assured that our channel, we're bringing what we believe. We don't get paid. We're not, I think some of you probably have already been burned by Blue Blood, just considering the fact that he's actually a part of this whole situation relative to BLK. We're not a part of any entity. We don't have any business partners. It's just me and Jay. That's what we do. And we bring what we know and what we like to do, which is talk boxing. So, Jay, I'm gonna push it over to you, and you tell me if you have anything else to add, and if not, then we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
You hit everything out there. Only thing next time we'll definitely try to, be a little bit, change the topic a little bit more, and we won't stay on one topic the whole time, because we had planned to go on other avenues for the topics and stuff, but this just got a lot deeper than what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, for me, guys, I want to go in whatever direction you guys want to go in. So if the conversation is around Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, that's what we're going to talk about. If it's around another topic, we'll talk about that. So whatever you guys want to talk about, that's what we're going to do, and we'll do that.
Yeah. Well, so we appreciate you all, even Harris as well.
Yeah, Terrence, come back next time, man. I'll bust your ass again. You easier work than Errol Spence would have made of Terence Crawford. So
all work is easy work.
If Terence Crawford fights like you debate, he don't have a chance against Errol Spence. I'm an asshole. If you don't know, I'm an asshole. All right, Jay, man. Well, that's it for me, man. I'm good.
Yeah, all good here. We appreciate y'all.
All right, man.
Respect.
Deuces, guys.
Later.